This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I had a couple of options of what I wanted to talk about. One was the three deaths. It's a Mexican concept apparently, and I was going to share that. I decided to not share that today. I'll probably share that later in the week. But there's a couple other concepts that I wanted to think about, and one was, the other one was about like success being linear, and it's not linear, should I say. But I wanted to talk about something else today, and that is the fact that through a lot of my own conversations and through my own development, one of the things that I recognize is that even though my life may improve in particular areas, what I used to find was I'd find these particular things to complain about or I would focus on to bring my attention down or be pessimistic or, run a worst case scenario pattern completely subconsciously, especially when I got tired and run down. Super interesting. But here's the really interesting point around all of this is the fact that, I remember having this epiphany going, hang on a sec, let me just take a look at my life for a moment. And I'm like, there's a lot of things that I have in my life right now that I once wished for, and I'm starting to take them for granted. And what I'm focusing on is the things that I am not, I have not, I'm not doing, all of this sort of thing. And that in itself is a pattern. And so when I did that, I said, hang on a sec. If I'm not, inverted commas, happy now, when the fuck am I going to be happy? Like, at what point will I actually go, oh, that's enough. That's enough love. That's enough things. That's enough prestige. That's enough reputation. I'm happy now, and just maintain that. And then I recognized I saw the conditions that I put on my own self-esteem, my own happiness, my own love. And I was like, fuck, that's super interesting. And in doing that, it allowed me to just stop and be grateful for every single fucking thing that I have in my life. And I mean that genuinely, like all of the struggles, all of the challenges, all of the injuries, all of the business, everything, all this opportunity, right? Like to talk into a microphone in a shed in an industrial suburb in Canberra, Australia, and get contacted by people around the world. Hang on a sec, like how bad can your fucking life be? Like, we live in some of the greatest times ever, and I'm sharing this with you because it's both an offer and a challenge for you to look at this within your own life and make your own decisions. It's like, hang on a sec, are there things that I continually complain about? Am I constantly looking for things to complain about, even if it's only for yourself, whether it be in other people, and I say it's to yourself rather, even if it's for other people that you're complaining about, or whether it be something about yourself, your body, all this sort of shit. And just understand that, like, until you can be happy with what you have, the universe isn't going to give you more because you think you're less. So you can keep seeing, going to keep getting the less because that's what you think you are. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough, reputation. I don't have enough business. All these sorts of things. I don't know enough. All this. The universe is just a fucking mirror. It's like, cool, well, that's what you're getting, right? And that's what you're getting as a sensation, as a feeling, as reality that you see in front of you unfolding. Because as soon as you have these, let's call them embedded commands, subconsciously, you'll look for it. You'll look for evidence. See, I told you I can't fucking drum up enough business. See, I told you that the person stares at my fat rolls. Whatever it may be, there's all this sort of thing. But we have to be very mindful to really, go through our own thoughts with a fine-tooth comb and recognize what is actually true and what is the bullshit that we're spinning ourselves, right? And I tell you, here is one big indication to tell you something about if it's bullshit or reality. If it's external blame to someone else about particular events in your life, right? Now, that's really tough, and there's a very, very big scope around that, and I can't delve into all of that, but what I recommend you do for majority of those events is to look at that, right? And I know that's a fucking tough gig because there's some terrible, terrible things that have happened in the world. Horrible things. And what we must do personally, and this is once again an offer and a challenge, is look at those events and go, well, what can I take responsibility for? Because if we can't take responsibility for anything, then we can't like transcend it. We can't grow past it. If we constantly blame and think about it, like literally be aware of your thoughts about it. Because if we can't transcend that situation, then we carry it. We put it in our backpack and we carry around this backpack our whole fucking life and we complain about the backpack. It's like, well, you don't have to wear the backpack. You can choose to let go of it. But unfortunately, for a lot of us, it's a part of our identity. So we think. I know who I am. Yep, I bet you do. Absolutely. Of course you do. Tell me. Yep. And then you'll be that person, right? You'll act out that play. You'll be that persona, the character. That's what's in a play. A persona is the mask that people wear, right? And so this is what's really interesting around, I think, this whole situation for all of us is to realize that it's a fucking game. Like, it's Ready Player One, insert the commands. And if we're not careful, it's the commands that we just button bash when we were younger to try and get the result that we want. That's still running now as an adult, right? And if you don't know what button bashing is, it's playing a video game and not knowing the actual moves. So you just literally button bash to try and get a result that you want. And then you get like kind of the same patterns at button bashing, but you're only good at a couple of things. Yeah. So if you win, it wasn't on purpose. But if you learn all the moves and you take the time to reprogram how you press those buttons, then all of a sudden we start to get the results that we want, right? Super fascinating. Very fascinating. So my point throughout this whole podcast here is going, are you happy with where you're at in life? Are you grateful for what you have? The opportunities, the people, who you're unbecoming, you know, are you grateful for the fact that you are living in a time where you can put some headphones in and educate yourself whilst commuting to work? Like, that's a new time. Like, what did you have to do to be able to do that? Right? Not much. Right? In a country potentially that maybe is extremely safe compared to a lot of other countries. Not that I've been to the ones that are deemed unsafe, right? We don't know what the media says, but you get my point. Regardless, you get my point. So we start to look at all this and we start to see it and we go, hang on a sec, maybe there's a heap of little things here that I'm taking for granted. I had a good chat with a friend on the weekend around the fact that we're living in the safest time in recorded history, according to deaths, especially by war, right? But we're the most depressed and most anxious we've ever been. He's like, why do you think that is? I'm like, well, when there's an enemy, we have a purpose, right? This is not the only reason why I think that's the case, but when there's an enemy, we have a purpose. And often the enemy is going to be another human being. You know, the enemy could be something else, right? And then over time, you can realize there is no enemy. But the enemy could be the marketing companies that push junk food down our throat. Like, that could be the enemy. Why could that not be our purpose, right? Why does it always have to be humans that's the enemy, right? There's a whole range of ideas of going, when we give ourselves a purpose rather than just waiting around for someone else to give it to us as if like our own existence is up to somebody else's authority. It's like you have the ability, like I said just the other day in the podcast, to give your life meaning. And in doing so, we can start to actually be grateful for every single thing around us. And I mean that genuinely, everything. Because we are living in some of the greatest times ever. So the question is also, are you maximizing your life in that time? And if the answer is no, then the next question is, what are you going to do from here today to correct that? Team, I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, jump on Facebook and search Mood Prep Online, and in there you'll see there's a nice little book club starting again. We have a brand new book this month that I'll release tomorrow. Otherwise, that's it. I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
To be everything at once, beyond unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.